Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Stuff Podcast. My name is David, and I am joined by.
Ted, aka Steady, of the Countdown City Geeks. What is up?
And this is where we talk about all things Star Wars. And yes, we do have a special guest today. This week is going to be the superhero Comic Con extravaganza that the person here on this podcast is going to host a couple of very, very incredible panels, including one with Andy Serkis and one with Sam Witwer. And Diego Luna is also going to be there. Hopefully, we get to talk to him. But before we get started here, we want to definitely thank all of our awesome lovers and supporters of the podcast. Starting here with our top tier supporters on Patreon: Hayden Hauser, Darth Ace 1, Leah McCallan, Chris Simpson, Kevin Langninger, Devin McCaffrey, Drew Peters, Zach Netzel, Benwer 526, Sumaya Morris, and Maka Talatala. Thank you so much for all your awesome love and support. Thank you, everyone out there on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, for joining us live here for this pre-show for The Acolyte Season 1, Episode 4. And like I said, we have Ted here on the podcast. He is going to be interviewing Andy Serkis on Thursday, if I'm correct. And then Sam Witwer will it be Friday or Thursday?
Sam is going to be Thursday. Wait,
okay, Thursday.
Sorry. Yeah, Sam is Thursday.
Okay. So if you are in the San Antonio area, you probably heard us talk about the superhero Comic Con. A slew of people from Marvel, DC, TV are going to be there in person. And the cool thing is Andy Serkis and Sam Witwer are going to be there. Sam Witwer is actually signing autographs for free at the Comic Con. I almost said car show there. There's no car show this year. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Ted?
Somehow, StreamYard does not like my camera. Everything was working fine. The camera has power, and StreamYard's like, nope, not you, not today. There it goes. All right.
Okay.
What
I was about to put up the graphic here with all the people showing up.
Please. This is, and I know this is gonna sound like it's either far-fetched or like just blowing smoke, but like this is one of the best, if not the best, ran conventions in the country. The attendees are like priority number one, and they go above and beyond to make sure everybody has an incredible experience. Right away, if I told you you could go get 10 photo ops, not photo ops, but 10 photos and 10 autographs for free without anything else, just a ticket to get in, you would think I was crazy and you would think I was lying. But no, that's exactly what's happening here. You can go get a ticket for yourself. Kids are free under the age of 12, I believe. And that's also like a big selling point for families who want to take their kids to these things. So free for kids, free photo ops, pictures and autographs. Sam Witwer is a part of that group of the freeness. So yeah, it's just it's incredible.
That is incredible. We will be there starting Thursday. We will be at the Countdown City Geeks booth. So, like I said, if you're in the San Antonio area, if you're coming to the show, definitely come by, stop by. You'll see me. You might not see Ted because he's going to be hosting a lot of these panels. He hosted the panel last year with Katie Sackhoff, did a fantastic job. Gave the Star Stuff podcast a shout out. He hosted the panel with Ming Na Wen. Were there any more Star Wars actors that you?
Yeah, there was the guy under the Mando helmet.
Oh yeah, Barry Lowen. I totally forgot about him. He's so like under the radar.
Well, there's like a group of them, right? Like not taking anything away from Barry, but I think there's like 2 or 3 guys that kind of do all the work wearing the suit, and so I guess it's hard to kind of give one person all the credit on set.
Right. Of course, you have Pedro Pascal, who is the voice, and he's been in the suit a few times. Then you have Lateef Crowder, who does a convention circuit a lot. You have Brendan Wayne, the grandson, I think, of John Wayne, and then you have Barry Lowen, who did some stunts as well. and he actually I thought he retired and kind of went away because I think he became a weatherman in or a news anchor in
News
Florida.
anchor over in Louisiana. Yeah.
Louisiana? I thought it was Florida. Okay, well, anyways, but I saw him on another con schedule, so maybe he's still kind of doing the rounds. But his panel was pretty good. Um, I had no idea who he was, and he talked about it. And I was like, wow, it's like how many people do they have in the Mando armor? It was kind of surprising. I thought it was just the three guys, but apparently it's more people. But if you're looking at us on video here, you can see our screen. Sam Whitwer, he will be doing free autographs and selfies. So I guess the way that works is, I guess he was kind of paid to come to the show, and then however many people get in his line, he's going to, for however long he's there, he's just going to sign and take pictures, which is awesome for a Star Wars fan. So that's really kind of the big incentive, I think, if you're a huge Star Wars fan, just to go to meet Sam Witwer or talk to him. And I think they're going to have a building. Are they going to have that separate building that they used to have the car show in?
Yeah, so the layout of the convention is it's three separate buildings. One of them just happens to be a coliseum that's legendary,
Yeah.
and that's going to have all of the main panels, including Andy Serkis's panel. And then the smaller middle building is going to have the 10 free autograph individuals and the free arcade. And we're not talking about like a few 80s games like Galaga and stuff. Like usually there's like 30 retro pinball machines and like all these other major arcade games that are all absolutely free. So there's just so much for you to do and spend time doing. And oh, by the way, yeah, Sam and company are going to be signing away and taking photos for free. And then if you got the money, come get autographs in the main building, Expo Hall 1, where you'll get folks like Chris Pine, Jake Gyllenhaal, Diego Luna, who this is a great time to meet him before the second season of Andor drops and just get whatever you want signed. His panel is going to be glorious. I'm just going to be in the audience listening to it where I kind of want to be, just kind of hearing everything he has to say about it. And it's going to be great. The panels are all going to be fantastic. Such a great event. Luckily, we are always like front row center whenever something major happens. That includes Katie when she gave us that great story about when she was holding the dark saber for the first time at the end of what was it, Mando season
Two.
2
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah, and she gave us a great story towards the end of that season where they did a take where she lifted it in the air and screamed at the top of her lungs for Mandalore, and we didn't get to see that. But watching her do that in person, goosebumps all the way up your arms just because she's fantastic.
Yeah, that was an awesome panel. And she just grabbed some guys out of the audience dark saber and just
Well, I
used it,
did, but
ran.
yeah,
Oh, okay. You ran out and did that. I thought it was kind of pre-planned the way you actually executed that whole thing.
it's planned all in my head, and I'm just trying to get people around me to catch up. That's how it usually goes. That's what adult ADD does.
Yeah, you are a really good host. Those panels you did with Ming Na Wen and Katie Sackhoff are great. And also, Giancarlo Esposito, you did a panel with him, I guess like 2 years back now, and that
Too.
like went super viral. And he was talking about, oh yeah, I want to be Mr. Freeze, I want to be Professor X, I want to be Magneto.
Yeah,
And
that
now he
was
does have roles, I think, in Marvel, and of course he is who he is in the Mandalorian, Grand Moff Gideon. So yeah, it's super cool. It's surprising that Giancarlo Esposito's not going to be at this con. I mean, he usually does every single convention that that kind of pops up here.
he's actually going to the October one, so
Okay,
he'll be here in 4 months. It feels like we have more time than we really do.
there is
Like
no
this
time
next
tab.
convention's gonna be 40% Star Wars, 40% Star Trek, and then mixed in with a bunch of other folks from other shows like Battlestar and whatnot. And that one, I just can't like imagine how just insane it's gonna be. Super busy, super packed, but like everybody's gonna have a blast. And having this type of event in October, like the only thing that's not even a big criticism is like, yeah, the weather's blazing hot, but if you're indoors, you got refillable drinks, you got refillable snack buckets for popcorn, like you're taken care of. And so the only downside is it's brutal. I'm glad it's in June. It used to be in July before. June helps it a little bit. It's not going to be plus 100 every single day. So it's definitely an improvement from past years, but only the heat is like the only downside. Everything else is glorious.
Right, right. And it's all in air conditioned buildings, guys, so you don't have to worry about that. It's just the
Yep.
walk to from your car to the expo hall or to the Freeman Coliseum or from the expo hall to the Freeman Coliseum. And I think a lot of people weren't aware of like how to get to the panel necessarily because some people are younger than us and they're not aware of the Freeman Coliseum and its history. It's kind of one of the big stadiums that exist in San Antonio. That back in the day it was like a big deal, and we had some minor league teams playing it. But right next door to that is the Frost Bake Center where the Spurs play, San Antonio Spurs. So yeah, you have to make that walk because when Ewan McGregor did the panel in the Freeman, I was surprised that I got right in the front row, and it started filling up behind me. But it felt like a lot of people didn't know like the scheduling and to actually walk across the way to get to the Freeman. Maybe they didn't want to walk outside. I don't know, but yeah, this is gonna be big. It's gonna be big again, and I'm gonna be super excited to watch you host these panels with Andy Serkis and Sam Witwer, and definitely I'm gonna get my Darth Maul lightsaber autographed by Sam Witwer. We're probably gonna do something with that on the podcast, either a giveaway or something there at the convention. So yeah, I'm excited. It's happening this Thursday, so get ready, everyone. We're gonna probably do a few live streams too, and shoot some stuff over social media, and allow everyone that doesn't have a chance to go that live in different states, different countries to check it out. So
Yeah, and we will share as many of the panel coverage as we can. Plus, we'll do full videos of like just the full experience and whatnot. Maybe some behind the scenes things as we're setting up and as the days get started. So the entire team's going to be on site, on the ground, and it's going to be a wild ride. So
yeah.
stay tuned, and may the force be with you.
One last thing, Ted, before you go, I wanted to bring this up. So the showrunner that we know, he's been on the podcast, Bob Wills, he put out a very interesting post on social media the other day about SpaceCon and Superhero Comic Con. He asked us if it would be something that we would want if some of the potentially acolyte centric people associated, would we want them to show up to some of these cons? I said yes. I would love to see him. You don't know how big a star some of these people are going to be. You don't. Yeah, I mean, the earlier you get them, the better it is because the more affordable their stuff will be. And of course, you want to see these people in person. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that before you leave, Ted.
No, absolutely. I mean, I said before Acolyte ever aired the first episode that I'm a big fan of Lee Jung Jae. He did a Korean film last year called Hunt, and I think he directed it, and he also was the lead in it, and that showed me his entire like range of his acting prowess. He just everything from Squid Game to that. He was like a spy from Korea. And so I'm a big fan of his. I would love to either meet him or to have the fans give up the fans an opportunity. And let's not pretend like nobody wants to meet Carrie Ann Moss, who's from the show. Like there's a few folks from Acolyte who are already kind of big names in their own right. So yeah, I see no issues with it at all. I
Yeah.
you know definitely bring the big names and give the opportunity to meet some of these smaller ones as well. Daphne King. Who would want to meet Daphne King?
I
You
mean,
didn't
for
like her in
Expo,
Logan? She was
Yes, for
awesome in Logan.
X-23, being X-23 alone, and that's why Leslie Headland cast her. I mean, you want to see X-23 with a lightsaber, and hopefully we get to see that in less than an hour here. So, but I know
Yep.
you're a busy man, Ted. You're preparing for the panels right before I contacted you, so I'm gonna let you go, Ted. Concentrate on that. No more procrastinating. I don't want to assist in that. I want you to have some good questions for those panels, and give my best to Andy Serkis and Sam Witwer in case I don't get to talk to them.
Absolutely, man. And good luck to everybody watching Acolyte tonight. And I don't mean that kind of in a, I don't know, in a misconstrued
Negative,
way,
yeah, negative connotation. Yeah,
negative connotation. This show is raised a lot of questions, and it's unexpected for a series to kind of try and do that. It's bold, and it's going to be remarkable if the questions have answers that are equally as valuable and high quality. So I'm waiting and seeing what happens with this series. I do not hate it or anything. The the questions they raise, the risks they're taking are bold ones. Believe me, I'm on the kind of I'm understanding where some of the controversy is coming from, but I'm a
mhm,
wait and see kind of guy because I'm a fan of a lot of franchises. Marvel, when Loki first dropped, how many complaints were there about the things they were doing on that show? And Loki in love with his variant, things like that. Let's also talk about X-Men 97. A lot of complaints early on. You waited, you saw what happened, things turned around. Not saying that's the same case here, but things can definitely turn around. And even Andor, I think Andor, folks weren't ready for the long game they were setting up, and it paid off in a big
yeah,
way. So I'm excited.
yeah. All right, Ted. Well, thanks so much for joining us for this short time, and I will see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. We'll be hanging out all weekend. Probably sleeping at the convention because it's gonna be a long, long next 5 days, but it's
Yeah.
gonna be glorious. All right,
All right.
we'll see you soon, everybody. Take it easy. Peace.
All right. See you, Ted. Thanks. All right, and joining us now to the stage is the one and only Craig Five. How
Craig
are you doing,
Five's
Craig?
been standing by for 10 minutes, Dave.
I know. I saw you. I thought you were just going to join in and start asking questions. But Ted actually had to go. He told me before he came on that I said he has a little spot there since Craig was going to be running a little late there. So,
Okay.
yeah, superhero Comic Con's happening. It's not a car show this year. They've actually taken the car show part of it, and they're going to have more celebrities there signing autographs, and a lot of them for free, like Sam Witwer. So, what I'm going to try and do, here's my strategy. I'm going to try, since I'm going to be at the booth with Countdown, I'm going to try and get there like as the first person in line to talk to him and try and secure an interview with them as well. Set up a time where we can maybe talk a little bit. So that's kind of the strategy, but we'll see. But I'm definitely going to get a lightsaber signed by him, and we know he has some awesome stories. And then Ted, who you just saw on here, will be hosting the panel at night later on in the day, and that should be really cool too on Thursday. So both of his panels are on Thursday for the Star Wars celebrities, Andy Serkis and Sam Witwer. So if you're in town in San Antonio, if you can drive over here, I say do it. It'd be cool to see you guys in person, and you can say hi to me and Ted. So Craig, what is on your mind for the Acolyte for this pre-show hype episode?
And so much hate. Dave, so much hate.
Don't let the hate flow, Craig.
Through you. The Star Wars fans have joined the dark side.
That's what it seems like, man.
I really don't understand why there's so much hate for this show. I really don't get it. You know, like Book of Boba Fett was such a mess, and I'm not blaming the actors. I really like Tamura Morrison and Ming, and so I don't blame them. But the story was just kind of like all over the place. It didn't make a lot of sense, and so I can understand the complaints with that. I can even understand the complaints with the Obi-Wan show. I will say I love the lightsaber duel. Hello. Uh, I I love the lightsaber duel. I thought that was fantastic. The rest of the series was kind of meh. I will say that. But this show is really intriguing and interesting to me, and I like that they're expanding on different things with the Force. I mean, we can't just keep doing, the Sith and the Jedi, because that, if anything, takes away from what Anakin did. If the Sith keep getting defeated over and over again, then how did I mean that they didn't mess that up with the sequel trilogy and Palpatine coming back, but I like that they're exploring other stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree. There has to be some differences. There has to be some nuance. There has to be some stories that you didn't quite expect to come across. There has to be different groups, which we've seen and heard of different groups like the Church of the Force, the Path of the Open Hand, and the High Republic books. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that they're developing, and a lot of very, very loud and persistent people just don't agree with it. And I don't think we really agree with that on the podcast. But I mean, you have to do different
If I
stuff.
don't like it, I'm gonna say it. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna, I'm very vocal on the stuff that I like or what I like or don't like, and I'm always forthright and kind of blunt about it. But I like this show. I mean, I gave the first 2 episodes an 8, and I said this third one was probably like an 8. So I don't understand where the hate is. I think that people are so angry at Disney because they feel like Disney is pushing an agenda in many areas, and they are, like they have with different things, that they're not giving something a chance now. They're just automatically assuming it's going to be bad, and they're not going to like it, and that there's hidden agendas there. So I think that we're only like 3 episodes in, 4 tonight. Like, let's see where the story goes.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen what 3 episodes, and this is going to be 8 episodes, so we're not even halfway through it. We'll be halfway tonight, but
I mean, are they complaining? Have you heard anybody complain about the actors? I mean,
I've heard them vaguely say acting is an issue, but it's like Lee Jung Jae is great.
he's
Carrie
fantastic.
Ann Moss was great.
Yeah, she's
Amanda
great.
Stenberg playing 2 separate characters, that's a feat unto itself.
I
Saw
think
no
she
problem with that.
like her.
Yeah. Daphne Keene, I thought her acting was good. Carl thought she wasn't as good as I thought, but I thought I've seen a lot of her work, and I could feel kind of what she was doing with that character, and of course with Charlie Barnett with Yord, I thought he played that character perfectly, and I mean there's a big kind of like uprising of fans for him, and they call themselves the Yord Horde, which is kind of funny. But
Yeah.
out here on YouTube, I want to definitely give a shout out to Bradley Mackey here. He says, "Hey guys, first time in the live chat. Love the show and really looking forward to your breakdown episodes. Awesome. Thank you, Bradley, for
That was a really good breakdown episode we did last week, I thought.
Yeah, I totally agree. Bradley also says, big fan of the ACOLYTE so far, but I guess that some fans are basing their criticism off of some of the less popular shows we've gotten this far. I mean, when you think about the whole criticism thing about Star Wars shows, and you have that huge negative contingent of YouTubers and creators out there that get a lot of likes, a lot of views. I mean, it's just it's odd. It's you kind of wonder, have they ever attempted to try and make any type of art in their life? Have they ever attempted to try and make something where you have the extreme pressure of a Star Wars type IP on them to make something just average? And you don't know what their biases are, and you don't. I mean, it seems just unfounded. I mean, all these low scores on like Rotten Tomatoes. I think Rotten Tomatoes the audience score is like 14%, when the critic score is like in the 80s. When you see that kind of disparity, you know it's been review bombed, and you just can't trust it. So,
well, I think the review bombs were I mean, they were reviewing it before it even came out. Like, that's a problem.
That's a huge problem.
Listen, if you don't like it and watch it and don't like it, I get it. That's fine. but people are bombing it before it even comes out. So how do you take it seriously? You know what I mean? How can people take the reviews seriously if they're reviewing something they haven't even seen?
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. That makes no sense. There's no logic in that.
I mean, I think there's such a fallout. I think it's still from Last Jedi.
Yeah, I think the reverberations of
I'll lead a Last Jedi hate group. You know that. I'll start my own Last Jedi podcast, hate podcast. You know, so nobody disliked that movie more than I did, and I'm open-minded enough to say, okay, but that's a different thing. I want to give this a shot. I want to see if I like this.
and it makes me wonder if Disney, when they picked up the baton with Star Wars, if they just started making everything out there that I think the fans at the moment wanted, would we still be getting this type of criticism for the Acolyte? Because you think about it, of course, they wanted to get the sequel trilogy. They wanted to have the big three in there all together on the Falcon.
I mean,
Luke wrecking shop in The Last Jedi, which we didn't get.
I mean, we thought it
would
happen. I was so convinced it was going to be Rey and Luke versus Kylo Ren and
right. That was like an ultimate kind of tease thing that they gave us, and he really wasn't there. Of course, spoilers for The Last Jedi.
There's no,
and of course,
Last Jedi. The Last Jedi is a spoiler. It's
so yeah, and of course the Old Republic stuff that's out there, the video game that was so popular, Knights of the Old Republic. They've been talking about doing that, but they didn't execute. They didn't do that. We have Darth Plagueis stuff out there that's been around since the sequels. People thought Snoke was Darth Plagueis, and everyone was happy. Everyone was content with that. And then they gave us Snoke, which I later on kind of liked the character, but they killed him off in The Last Jedi. And Andy Serkis was basically dropped from Star Wars right there and then, which hopefully I'll ask him about that, or Ted will ask him about that in the panel as one of his questions this week. But yeah, I mean, there's so many, and I talk. If you watch the podcast long enough, you know that I talk about slam dunks. There's so many slam dunks you can do that are just like no brain things to do in Star Wars, and there's still a laundry list of things to do before you need to get to something like an Acolyte. But we're jumping, I think, steps, and this is like a huge step, I think, for a lot of people that are so ingrained to, oh my gosh, Anakin is the only one that can be born from the Force. And oh my gosh, Darth Plagueis is the only one that can create life. And they get stuck in that whole rut. And it's like they're just seeing the surface level of what that story is. And it's like, well, I mean, there's other possibilities out there. I mean, there was a moment where people got really, really mad because the fact that, oh, we see someone with a red lightsaber in the Acolyte, so they're breaking canon because Coyote said their Sith had been extinct for millennia. But I mean, you got to remember back to think of all the hubris of the Jedi Council and the Jedi itself, how they thought they were superior, how no one could go up against them. But I mean, it's just a tough kind of deal, and I'm kind of talking like if I were running Star Wars, what I would do. But it feels like if we got all the simple stuff that I think, or I shouldn't say simple, but the stuff that we thought we were going to get right away, and we still haven't. I don't know if we would be getting these types of reviews. I don't know. But either way, I mean, I was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s. There was so much just non-Star Wars
we had nothing.
happening. But yeah,
years.
well, I mean, we had the books. I mean, the books were out there, but to me, when I was growing up, I didn't know if I could trust the books. I didn't know if this was actually the Seek of the Thrawn trilogy. I was like, I had no one really to talk to. There was no internet for someone to explain. No. These are after the original trilogy, and they do count as novels. I didn't have friends that read them, but I saw them on the bookshelves, and I was like, should I read this stuff? I don't know. I don't know anyone that's talking about these things. Is it going to be worth my time? But yeah, now we get Star Wars TV live action all the time now.
We're getting 2 shows a year.
2 shows a year. That's big time, man.
Right?
I would kill in the 90s or something like that. We would dream about all this stuff. and now we're getting it, and I'm grateful for it. And we review it. We have a podcast where we talk about it and analyze it, but it's just too big of an overreaction to the show, and other TV shows and projects are getting the brunt of these like hate bomb reviews. And actually a Star Wars alum who created I believe a TV show, or is it a movie? Joel Edgerton. There's a picture right there. So there's actually an article out there that talks about Joel Edgerton's film, his 2008 movie, being review bombed, and this is on the Star Wars Newsnet. It says the Acolyte has been the subject of a lot of controversy this week. Its latest episode introduced some new lore that potentially contradicts some long-held beliefs among Star Wars fans about the ability to create life with the Force. It likely doesn't contradict anything, and will probably be explained in future episodes. But don't let that stop some people from getting ahead of themselves. Such has been the uproar that some of the haters have taken Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb to review bomb the Acolyte, an unfortunate development in modern fandom that doesn't paint a true picture of what the majority of fans actually feel. With the series currently sitting at a 16% audience score, it has a 84% rating with critics. However, some overzealous viewers have failed to check what property they're actually reviewing, or where were instructed to review before posting, which has led a lot of haters to accidentally review bomb an entirely unrelated film called Acolytes that was released 16 years ago in 2008. The film, coincidentally, actually stars Joel Edgerton, who recently reprised the role of Owen Lars in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and has credited Star Wars for changing his career. And now it has an audience score of 33%. That was pointed out by Jordan Mason in a post on Twitter. So, yeah, I mean, it's getting kind of ridiculous, guys.
It's blind rage. It's just blind rage.
Yeah. So, yeah, Zach just joined us on the podcast here if you're listening on audio.
Guys?
How's it going, Zach? So, yeah, we're just talking about the review bombing for the Acolyte, and I just read a story about Joel Edgerton's movie that was released years ago that's getting review bombed. There's also another Acolyte-based piece of media out there that's getting review bombed as well, and it's like, come on, guys, it's getting a little ridiculous.
Zach, have you seen the episode again since our last week?
No, I have not watched it again on purpose.
Okay.
What up, Base? Yeah, no, I kind of needed some time to breathe from it, because I told you guys last week I guess my thoughts weren't necessarily solidified, and honestly, like, as the week has gone on, my thoughts on it have kind of gone down, but I really want to try to wait almost until the whole show's out to really decide how I feel about it. You know what I mean? Because it's not, I'm trying to give.
Well, what about the last episode didn't you like?
It's kind of tough to pinpoint it. I mean, it's tough to put blame on the child actresses, right? Because that, I'm not really looking at that, but I just didn't love the way the story went. It just wasn't jiving with me. I'm not saying it, it was going against continuity or not, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. I guess I could go more into it if you want.
Was there something specific about it, like the backstory with the witches, or you had problems with them children with the Force?
I thought it was a little weird how, like, we've heard of like the Immaculate Conception with the Force and manipulating midichlorians to be like a practice Sith have sought after for generations and generations and generations. Then we find these random homies in a mountain, and we did it twice in one go. And, like, that just kind of took it away from me a little bit, not to discredit it, but that's just kind of how I felt. And yeah, it is what it is. I'm not out here trying to bash the show or nothing. Yeah. That's just my honest gut feeling on it.
Well, I mean, I think we have to, I think we'll see more to that, and maybe that will make you appreciate what happened there more, or maybe it'll make you like it less.
Yeah, for sure. And I know there's more. There are a lot of questions that I still have regarding that episode, and which we all have. I know there were certain point of views that are very important for telling the rest of that story for what we weren't seeing, especially when Osha was in the tunnel underneath and we heard that big boom, and then all of a sudden everybody's on the ground. So I'm really curious to see how that pans out. I'm excited to. I don't really know where this episode goes tonight. I'm hoping it goes back to the main story that the first two episodes were following because I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes, and I'm excited to see what happens next. So I'm here for it.
You know, there was one thing that nobody made a point about. At least I haven't heard it. That stood out to me, even the first time I heard it, where May says, "We're stuck here. We're not going anywhere." Like she sabotaged something. We're stuck here now, I think is her exact words.
In the context of going with the Jedi, or
Osha, she said, she goes into the room and she's like, "We're stuck here now." But why would you say that? It's such an odd thing to say.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. Why would you be stuck there unless you did something to be stuck there? That makes me think, did she sabotage something? Is that why the Jedi came all of a sudden? I don't know. But the way she said it, and then she said, "I'll kill you."
Do you think they're stuck in like the state of, I guess, kind of being rivals against each other in some sort of sense? That's kind of a stretch, but
thing like we're not
legal. Okay.
But why would you say we're stuck here now?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's the exact word. Can anybody pull that up real quick and check for us? Because it's such an unusual thing to say out of nowhere. To confront somebody and be like, "We're stuck here now." You'd say that after you did something that now we're all of a sudden we're stuck.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I thought that would, and I haven't heard anybody mention that at all.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Absolutely. What are your thoughts, David?
My viewpoint, kind of addressing what you just said, Zach, is for me, we don't know a lot of what's going on. We don't know about this coven, really. We don't know if Mother NSA is lying. We don't know if she tricked Corel. I mean, we don't know really what's going on. And we've seen a lot of the interviews, and Leslie Headland has stated over and over again, this is like an onion. We're peeling back parts of it, and we're going through it. And that's what it feels like what we're doing this last episode. All kinds of stuff was going on off screen. Hopefully we get to see it tonight, what really happened. And they showed a lot of stuff in the TV spots with Kelnaka with a lightsaber, Daphne Keene with lightsabers. So,
yeah,
I mean, we should get some pretty decent stuff. And I wouldn't say, for me personally, that this is the greatest thing Star Wars has ever done. But, I mean, I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I'm not super negative about it. I think it's interesting. I kind of went in with an open mind about this, and I knew about the budget. I knew they spent a lot of money. I knew they had a huge ensemble cast that was very interesting to me. I was interested in seeing Manny Jacinto and Charlie Barnett and Daphne Keene act, because this is a big deal for their careers. The biggest stuff that they've done. Daphne Keene, of course, has done Logan, so and she's done his Dark Materials on HBO as well. But I was really interested to see how that dynamic worked, and I think that's the thing I really love about the show. If I'm loving anything, it's just the different Jedi characters and their interaction with each other and how they work as these types of space cops. And now that we've seen so much, it almost feels like they're not maybe the best Jedi out there. Maybe they're a little shady. Maybe one or two of them. I don't know. Maybe Torben. I mean, we all saw what he did. He drank the Bunta juice there and committed self-sacrifice for something he did, and we still don't know exactly what they did. So there's still a lot of mystery.
Because he had a scar, right?
Right.
And like in the background, we didn't see it. Like the camera never panned on him, but we could kind of see it. In the end of the episode.
Yep, in the background, it was out of focus. Bender, who's one of our faithful viewers on YouTube, says, "I don't hate the show, but it isn't the best." And that's kind of what I said. I mean, it's not the greatest show, but I'm still watching it. I'm still interested. If I wasn't interested in the show, I probably wouldn't be doing a pre-show. That's
same here. For sure.
Darth Ace 1 says, "I am enjoying the show. I don't have complaints. PS on Acolyte related, but did you guys pick up on some Star Wars Oreos yet? I got the red. Well, I got a whole 10-pack right here."
Oh, dang. There you go.
That I haven't quite opened yet. And if you do go this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we are going to be having lots of these Oreos. I think I bought, I want to say, I think I have 1,000 packs of these to give out.
So
We got to
yeah.
see if they're 50-50 with the blue and the red.
Yeah, you're going to have to open them in front of me before you can leave the booth. So, yeah. Bradley Mackey on YouTube says, agreed, we should all be thankful for anything Star Wars we get. I agree with that. To a certain point, I mean, if it's not quality, which I heavily doubt they're ever going to put out something that's just so far below quality stuff that we're going to hate. But Bradley Mackey says on YouTube, I think the show is going to build as it goes and will blow our minds by the end. Like the first words we hear from Soul, close your eyes. Your eyes can deceive you. We must not trust them. That's an awesome point. I can totally see that. Bradley Mackey also said it seems like episode 3 was a flashback from the Coven's perspective, but based on trailers, it looks like we get some lightsaber action during the flashback period. Yeah, that seems like what we're going to get. Hopefully we get it tonight. I want to see these Jedis in action. I want to see their form. I want to see how good they are. Apparently Daphne Keen's really good. We've seen her hold 2 lightsabers and go up against that character we think is a Sith, but it feels like that's not going to happen until the end of the series. So, and because they're like in some type of like wooded area, so I think we're going to get the incident maybe tonight, and maybe meet another character tonight. And that character, I put him as our, and I don't know if it's what the gender is, but the character's name is Basil, and you can see him in the poster. If you look in the far left of our screen here, if you're watching us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, you can see that character right in front of Kelnaka. And I think we're going to get this character tonight. StarWars.com just put out a big thing about him. And I will read a little bit of it here once I bring it up. So inside the Acolyte Creature Shop, meet Basil, the Tynan Tracker. First details, and this is by Kristen Baver. Since the moment the Acolyte took us inside the Uda Noodle Shop in the very first scene, the work of the series Creature Shop has been on full display. Panning over the chattering diners, you may glimpse a diminutive alien slurping at a bowl of noodles and other species that would feel just as at home in the Mos Eisley Cantina. Soon, the otherworldly denizens of the galaxy will take a more prominent role when the story returns to Kofar. Here, the Jedi must employ the Tynan Tracker Basil in their search for the Wookiee Kelnaka. It was played by Jonas Swatamo, deep in the jungle. Behind the scenes, both Tracker and Target are the work of the Creature and Droid Effects creative supervisor Neil Scanlon and his team, a talented crew of designers, modelers, and fabricators who bring fantastical aliens, creatures, and droids to life in the Star Wars galaxy. The key, however, is creating something that's just on the verge of our own reality. A really effective design is one that you somehow feel you wouldn't be so surprised if you were to open your garage door and the droid was there, says Scanlon, whose crew was behind such designs as BB-8 and the Porgs. You wouldn't wake up one morning screaming if you saw a bird in a tree that was from Star Wars. You wouldn't run a mile. So that was a little bit of insight. I'm going to read any more of the article in case you want to go in totally fresh. But yeah, this is the character of Basil, who we might be seeing tonight since they release his information on StarWars.com.
I think we'll see him tonight. Just based.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's cool. You know.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this: if we get an incredible episode, do you think, like, it's so good that people can't deny? Do you think people will change their tune on this show? Or you think they'll give it another chance, or they'll still stick to, oh no, it sucks, I'm not gonna watch it?
You know, weeks ago,
Watch that, Earl.
Somebody made a really, really insightful, interesting point, I thought. They said that these people that review Star Wars and just completely bash it and are super negative, and I think we all know those people and who they are exactly, they can't afford to be positive because all these channels that are out there that get thousands and millions of hits, they make too much money off of it. They're going to lose more than half their audience if they do. So it's kind of like a numbers game type thing. And us were over here getting like
We don't have
hundreds.
numbers, so we're not worried about it.
Yeah, we get hardly any numbers, so we don't have to worry about it. We do get pretty good numbers on audio, though, I have to say, but just on video, not as much. We are expanding, but I just want to give a quick shout out to Matt here. He's actually someone on Twitter that we've been close with. He says, "Good morning from Australia. Can't wait for this episode." Yeah, we cannot wait for this. And this next episode. It's up in about 9 minutes, guys. So I'm gonna try and get through the chat here as quick as possible so that everyone that commented could have their comments up. I'm looking through it here. So Noah on YouTube says, "Hey dudes, curious to know what do y'all think of the reports of YouTube being pushed by Disney to censor pages like Critical Drinker and Star Wars Theory over the negative reviews on the show?"
Was really bizarre. I saw that on Twitter today. I don't know if it's true. I mean, who knows? Let's say it is true.
I'm kind of surprised it hasn't happened already. I mean, these guys go hard.
I mean, you can look, if Disney doesn't want to advertise on there, that's fine. But that channel does get a lot of views, and
Right.
So why is it? I'm sure there's plenty of brands that would advertise on there.
Yeah. I mean, it all goes back to freedom of speech. Anyone can say anything within the United States, and I guess online to a certain extent. But yeah, it's such a. I never thought as a little kid this would be the place where we would be when Lucasfilm would be giving us Star Wars TV and Star Wars films. Not so much the films, because it's gonna be what, 5 years, 6 years, something like that, between films.
I mean, I haven't seen
wild.
Star Wars films since Rogue One. All the other ones I've blocked out.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a weird thing. I guess those vocal, which can seem to be the majority. I mean, they're pretty loud, and it seems like to me sometimes that no matter how much they speak and how loud they get, Disney's going to do what Disney wants to do. Lucasfilm's going to do what they want to do. It doesn't affect them.
They should care about what the fans want too. It's like crazy. It is a little crazy to me that they don't seem to really care about what the fans want.
Yeah, to some extent. I mean, I could draw up what I think would be the perfect Star Wars story, right? But I mean, without a good director or something like that, it could be pointless because I've never been in a director's chair, right? And I don't know what I'm doing. But going back to Noah's comment and kind of what David was saying, I agree with the freedom of speech. I think people are allowed to review something in a way they want to review it. If it's for views, it's for views. I mean, I haven't watched Star Wars Theory in quite some time, but Critical Drinker makes me laugh whether I agree with them or not. So I'm not saying I'm gonna endorse them, but it's, they're just doing what they're doing, and we can either choose to be upset by it or keep moving on. I mean, that's, you know what I mean?
I don't even think I know who Critical Drinker is.
He's a lot to take in.
I've watched Star Wars Theory and here and there.
Yeah,
people are really, a lot of people seem to like really hate him these days. I don't know what's going on with that, but he still gets lots of views, so I'm not sure what to think of it. I don't watch enough of him to know either.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, before we go, I definitely want to give a shout out to Colin and let him know that we're all thinking about him, because he is currently in the hospital right now. He put out a public post on Facebook, and I'll show you the picture here in a second. I asked him the other day if he was going to come on the podcast, and he sent me a picture of him, and his face is like swollen to like twice the size. He got his wisdom teeth removed, and once he did that, he got an infection, and his face still continued to be swollen. And he made this post here. You can see him here. And it says, "If you notice that I've been on social media lately, here's why. Long story short, I had all my wisdom teeth taken out a couple of days later. The swelling got super bad. The dentist sent me to the ER. Shout out to my wonderful wife, who we all know is Brooke, for taking care of me. Turns out he had early stages of sepsis, which can be deadly. I had surgery, and I almost out of my system. I'm very glad I went in when I did. So yeah, I told him, go to the ER, man.
Yeah, glad he's doing all right. As much as I like seeing Colin quiet, I don't want to. Yeah, he knows I love him. Colin, man, that's serious stuff. That's really, really scary, sepsis. So I'm glad he's doing all right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
One last comment here on YouTube from Bradley Mackey. Thank you so much, Bradley, for contributing so much tonight. Hoping tonight's episode picks up where episode 2 left off with some flashbacks from Kelnaka's perspective on last episode's events. I think he gave Torben the scar, and hopefully we see how it unfolds. I like that idea there. That he maybe did give Torben that scar and sliced him across the face,
and then ran away because he's kind of an exile, right?
Yeah, it looks like he's in self-imposed exile there, and we've seen that before. We saw that by Torben in this series.
Maybe what happened, he got fed up with the Jedi.
Yeah, I think that's essentially what happened. He just left, and he wasn't wearing his robes. He had no pants on.
That's what usually happens with people that join our show. They get fed up. Colin's even faking sepsis to get out of being on the podcast.
Gosh, does it come down to that?
He's got a makeup crew. Everybody's trying to make it.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks so much, Andrew, on YouTube. He says, give Colin our love and best wishes and hope all is well soon. Darth Ace 1 says, I hope this is great. This is great tonight, boys. Looking forward to listening to the post show tomorrow at work. Bradley says, best wishes to Colin and speedy recovery. Yeah, likewise. We reiterate all that. We got 3 minutes to the show. Quick prediction. Zach.
Kelnaka is gonna die. I don't know. That's totally off the cuff and random. Sorry, David.
Torben already died.
You know what? Actually, that's probably not a bad guess given that the other targets have been killed already. So
I think it might be a little too early to kill him because we're only on episode 4, but you might be right.
Yeah.
I hope we see more of the master, whatever we call him.
Milo Ren.
I hope we see
I
more.
can't take credit for that. I heard that on the internet. That's not I didn't create that, but I thought it was
pretty
funny.
good.
It too.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, guys, we'll see you back when the episode ends with the post show, and it's the 4th of July.
Celebrating early. Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that. That was great.
Try this. See what that does. Maybe it's the same thing that James's phone does. Yeah, there we go. Oh, Craig.
For you, Colin. That's for you, buddy.
Do the thumbs up, Craig. Thumbs up.
I don't know.
Just do one. Just do one.
Give it some elbow.
Put your elbow in it.
Everyone listening thinks we're nuts and has no idea what's going on. But
yeah, you got to watch us on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe.
Apparently.
Yeah.
You only get one.
And done.
Hopefully we get that encounter with the masked figure with the red lightsaber. Thanks, Bradley. And hopefully we'll see you after the show.
All right, we'll be back.
For everyone, may the force be with you.
Always. Oops.
And also we'll